Okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow, and remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. And today, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from St. Louis, I have a very special guest. Let me give you a couple of words about my guest here. Creator, co-founder, advocate, leader. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Melanie Randles to the show. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Okay, well, that's what's up. That's what's up. I am so glad to have you on the show because today's show is about something that I like to talk about, every now and then. I don't get too many people on my show to talk about this, but we're here to talk about cannabis. All right. And basically, you know what? I'm just going to go a little bit into you and some of your accolades and some information about you, if you don't mind. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So Miss Melanie Randles is originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and you were on the front line during the Ferguson Uprisings, correct?
Yeah. So into the Ferguson Uprising for sure. Definitely.
All right.
I'm still in Ferguson right now to this day.
Okay, all right, that's what's up, And she's also an advocate for cannabis legalization and decriminalization as well. Now, in 2018, Missouri legalized cannabis, correct?
Correct.
All right, and in 2019, you created something called Bud Talk STL, and that was to educate, people on legalization, consumption, and cultivation of marijuana. So basically, since you launched that, how has things changed since you launched till today?
Sure, thank you. Well, I'm going to give a little bit of the background on that. So it actually birthed from my community organizing and from Ferguson Uprising, understanding controlling your own narrative and how the media works. There were many days when we would go out or my friends would be out and tear gas and all of that stuff would be happening, but it would be a peaceful protest, or we would be peaceful there, but by the time we could get home, it's on CNN and it's burning down. And it became a thing where controlling the narrative and what the media portrays and sees is very important, which is why I respect platforms like this. And so through me just going live on social media and giving gems about our Missouri medical marijuana program and how we can become cultivators and get licenses, I would just go live and give it to them for free. No, nothing for the community. And a friend of mine who works for a local news platform called Real STL News was like, hey, why don't you come onto the platform once a week and just go live and talk about the industry and how it's unfolding and all of those things. And so the very first day we did the episode, it was 16,000 views on it within 5 hours or something. So I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. So every week we would go live on Thursdays at 4:20 and it would just grow 32,000 views. I'm like, oh my God, it's this thing. And so it's an industry that everybody's interested in. It's booming, $24 billion on the table, right? So we have a media platform and we have people that's listening to it, and it just grows and grows. And the Bud Talk STL name and logo and all of that is there and created to target the demographic that we need, which is our young people, which is those people who have been criminalized the most, those people from St. Louis. We do social events like Puff and Paint. We're planning for a brunch and paint and brunch and puffs, those kind of things, so that we can have the right people in the room and tell them the opportunities that are available to them, right? And so as this continued to grow, my community background in organizing for social justice organizations like Color of Change, national organization. We sat in the courtrooms all year last year to collect data around opioid use, around them giving out GPS devices to our community and how that affects us. And those who are impacted by child support and cannabis, right? And we began to see that there's a bigger need beyond consumption. Bud brings people together. It's a networking tool of sorts, but it's deeper than that, right? People have been criminalized. So now we are looking at that. So we want to bring cannabis to the community so that we can be prepared and positioned to get some of this 24 billion and the resources that come with what's happening in the industry. So now that's where we are now. We are developing a new project that's unfolding. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little more later, but we have now grown from just going live on Facebook to now having an online hub, opening up a nonprofit organization, and really trying to provide the resources to the community.
Wow. Now that is, look, let me just say, like, that's a story within itself. Yeah, well, I mean, but you have to figure, like, this was a need and this was born out of a necessity because, as you said, you wanted to control the narrative that was being portrayed. So if this is one way to control this narrative coming out of this uprising, then so be it. But let me just ask, because I mean, I know we get asked this question a lot, but why do you think, African Americans are traditionally left out of something that has greatly affected them, such as the cannabis industry?
That's a twofold question for me. As with the businesses that we are creating, a lot of layers go into questions like that. But if I had to break it down, I would put it into two parts. Yes, we do have oppression. We do have a systemic issue within equity, within the industry, within the community, and within America, because the foundation and policy creates it that way, right? There's policy that governs all of these things to either be okay or not be okay. And racism is systemically embedded in all of the policies that come in and out of America. So that's one side of things, right? And a lot of people can say, oh, that holds us back. The barriers are there, we can't break them down. If we're on a boat, are you gonna sink or swim? Are you gonna get off? Wakanda, we say all these things, right? It's that. And then there's the flip side. There's the part that I feel I'm on, which is the accountability side of a lot of resources are there for us. A lot of education, a lot of knowledge can be obtained from the tip of our fingers in this age. We are living in a digital age where a lot of things that a person would ask me, I've Googled it and went to YouTube University or took the free courses on Eventbrite, and I've gotten that information, right? I've been accountable for the fact that yes, there are barriers. No, I don't have tuition money to go get the degree for cannabis yet. No, I don't have this, but this is what I do have, and this is what I can use to break the stigma, to change the barriers, and create social equity for myself and for my people. So that's a twofold thing. So to me, it's like, I'm a Gemini.
Okay.
So both sides of my brain work, and which side are you gonna be on? That's how I look at it. Yes, those things are there. Yes, they have traditionally stopped us, but now we have accountability in our forefront. Information be there, and we just don't go get it. Okay. Resources be there. Even with COVID-19, so many businesses thrive. I've thrived and came up with Canada Education Collective and all the other business lines that I want to create in this time where it's a downtime. But they were giving out $10,000 to businesses, $5,000 if you had a business, things like that. Resources that were available to you if you are prepared for what you're praying for, So that's
so basically what it sounds like is preparation meeting opportunity, because you had been prepping for this for a while, and when the doors opened up to you, it was nothing for you to do nothing but just walk right in, because you already knew, the steps you wanted to take into doing this. So hats off to you, Now you just hit on something, and it's right behind you there, the Canada Education Collective. I want to talk about that, because I was reading a little bit about it, and it's coming to Delwood, Missouri?
Yes.
Okay.
Delwood is a neighboring community to Ferguson. So it's literally, St. Louis has we went from 98 municipalities, which are one state broken down into a city, broken down into 98 different cities within itself, which goes back to this policy thing, because that means that each of those communities have their own governing policies. So you could drive down the street and literally ride through 5 different police departments, which increases your odds a lot when you live here for a lot of police brutality, a lot of socioeconomical issues and things like that within it. But that said, it's right around the corner from Ferguson.
Okay, well, no, you know what? That description, like what you just said, basically, okay, I get it now. Because once you have so many factions within one circle, you know, well, man, if I can't go down 2 blocks without going into a, you know, well, okay, that's that police department over there, and they have their set of rules, but I have to get over here. In order to get over here, I have to go through like 4 different police departments, and everyone has their own set of rules, which they really don't, but they do, you know, and especially when it comes to people of color sometimes, you know, it's just, hey, stop everyone, you know, or what have you. But enough about that. Let's talk about what's behind you here. Okay, so it's coming to Delwood, Missouri. When is it set to open?
We're set to open in December.
Okay.
I'm actually in the space now. I wish I was on my phone. I would do a quick little thing, but I'll unveil that later. Okay. But we are planning to open in December. We're planning for a soft launch, 11/11. I'm really big on numbers. Okay. What I mean. On 11/11, we're planning for a soft opening so that the community can see what we have to offer. But yeah, we are right dead smack in the middle of demo right now. So.
Okay. All right. So what type of services will it provide? What type of things will you offer to the community?
So we will be a collective. So that means that we have various businesses and individuals that have come together with the center need of changing the stigma and providing social equity in the areas of cannabis and community. What we'll be able to offer here are courses that lead to you being able to grow. So how to grow, on certain levels, from the beginner to more of our master level courses. Then we'll also be able to provide other resources such as financial resources and financial literacy, Forex. We are also on the brink of a digital currency exchange and other things that are happening on the brink of cryptocurrency and, you know, coin shortages and things like that. So we'll be talking about Forex trading and stocks as well, so that we can create more generational wealth. Life insurance. We'll be able to have folks that are able to come in and apply for things, applications for jobs, helping with resume building. Whatever you would be able to provide at a normal resource center in the community, we want to be able to provide that, but coming from cannabis business owners and innovators so that we can change the stigma of what that looks like to be in the community.
Okay. I like that. I mean, man, basically, you know, it's just a one-stop shop. So everything you need, I have it right here. So if you're really looking to take yourself and the business to the next level, we have everything you need.
Yes, and I did not get to mention one of the major things is that we want you to become a part of a network. So these individual businesses have things that we bring to the table as well, but we want you to be legal. In Missouri, our program is medical marijuana program. Okay. So we are medical authorization only. So you have to work with a cannabis doctor who can authorize you to get, you know, your prescription that'll be taken to the state to authorize you to get a card to get marijuana. With that, there are also social equity programs that can be built into it as well if you're low income, if you come from certain demographics, et cetera, that we can look at, again, policy and determine how that can be allocated. But in Missouri, you will not have access to marijuana if you are not a medical card holder. So we do offer that as well. And we have one of the lowest rates in town. It's like $150 authorization. But if you come through us, we can save you 50% and get that rate to you for about $75.
Okay, hey.
In addition to all the other resources that you would want to learn about becoming in the industry.
So look here, she just told y'all the Canna Education Collective down there in Delwood, Missouri. Hey, go see the lady. She has ideas, I'm telling you now. So you hit on something, you know, a little bit earlier. You were talking about like shareholders and stakeholders, you know, and everything being a collective. Now, in order to get the Canna Education Collective or the center built, you know, you had to like get stakeholders to come in and like put everything together to be a collective, correct?
Correct. Members more than stakeholders, so to speak, but more so members.
Okay. So can you take me through that process? Because like, I love to hear about collective economics, and I believe that's how you do build social equity, especially for us in cannabis. But can you just take us through that process and, you know, debunk some of the myths when it comes to us building collectively to, you know, have what we need?
For sure. So let's debunk a myth right off the bat from the fact that we've been collectively organizing with each other for a very long time as a people. And I want to take away that we can work together. You know, Black Wall Street, a lot of the things that I do and think of when I think about this collective stem from Black Wall Street. The small community, well, not really small in retrospect, but about 300 folk who organized the community themselves in Tulsa, Oklahoma, called Black Wall Street in Greenwood District. They could not cross the railroad tracks in their community because that was the racial divide, right? Kind of reminds me of home. We have a Delmar divide that used to separate us from our, you know, counterparts or whatever. Yes. So they could not cross the railroad tracks and ask for anything. So they had to develop their own community and resources within themselves. They had to be their own doctors. They had to be their own lawyers. They had to be their own preachers and teachers, mamas and daddies. They had to be their own. They had to essentially be a community within themselves and collectively be able to operate and sustain. And they did that for a very long time until they were found out about, and racism, really racism. It was a story that it was similar to Emmett Till. Somebody whistled at a white lady or something like that, or I can't remember exactly how it started about someone raped someone, but it wasn't true. But it just happened to be across those railroad tracks where we were. And it ignited a riot, and their community was burned down. Still right now to this day, the Greenwood Cultural Center has memorialized this area. And some of the burned bricks from Black Wall Street still are there. But their spirit will forever live on in any community work that I do, because I really believe that we have individual pieces of each other that need to be formed for the bigger picture. There's never gonna be any revolution. There's never gonna be any reparations. There's never gonna be anything given back to us from the oppression that we've sustained if we don't ever come together. So this is an effort to do that and change two stigmas in one, because cannabis is a medicine. How can we say it's a medical marijuana program, but we are afraid to talk about it? You know, how can we say that? How can we say that we don't want to talk to our young people about it? But this is for them too, because cannabis can help with seizures, epilepsy, PTSD, diabetes, all of these things. It can help regulate in your body. It's a system, the endocannabinoid system is in our body. And cannabis, there are no other receptors, such as a heroin receptor. There's no Vicodin receptors in our bodies. This is the science side of it, right? So this is something that we actually need if we have deficiencies. So we want to be able to change the stigmas, break the barriers of entry into the industry, and prepare our people to be ready for that.
Okay, hey man, look, like I said, woman on a mission, man, it's for us, it's by us. We just have to go get it, you know. But let me just talk a little bit about something that I know gets talked about from time to time, but I just want to get your views on it. What are your views on getting, you know, formerly incarcerated people of color into cannabis? You know, like getting them stripped of whatever cannabis charge they were, you know, brought in on, and getting them to buy into the collective as well. What are your thoughts on that? And why do you think that we don't hear enough of that?
Thank you. I love that question, because it's actually a huge part of our mission. I spoke on it a little bit earlier as well about having that court watch program. And a large part of our demographic is the formerly incarcerated population. Actually, one of our partners was formerly incarcerated. And so the rollout of all of this and coming out forward and being in this industry and expressing that is going to be huge for what we are trying to accomplish and the people that we're trying to reach. The Missouri Medical Marijuana Program is felon friendly. So you can still have, a background in those things, but we are the ones that need this program. We are the ones that need access to the industry, and there needs to be taxation things and programs built into any statutes and policies that money is coming in. They have criminalized us for so long. They have taken our bud, they have taken our money, they have taken our time. People have lost jobs. People have lost their dignity. Mm-hmm. My very first encounter with the police when I was 19 years old involved marijuana too. I smoked weed. It was smelling in the car. My headlight was out, and I did not know how to encounter the police. I had an attitude, stank attitude. Okay, didn't even know. Here go my stuff. Just rude. I ended up with a gun in my face that night, and it quickly turned from a funny story to that's still the reality of man, woman, boy, girl. When you black and you don't know. It can happen to us. So that plays over and over, that these are resources that I want to introduce to those demographics, and that it's available to them. These programs, cannabis, learning how to grow, all of this can be a business for you that you don't even have to worry about working for somebody. You can start a business yourself in this industry in some way. Any type of business you have, add hemp to it. You make a candle, add hemp to it. If you make sheets, use hemp thread. If yes. So that demographic is very, very important to us. That's why we're doing this. But we want to introduce ourselves to the community, do community outreach, let them get to know us as people, and then begin to introduce more of those demographics that are tougher to win over. Young people as well. We have a lot of ideas.
All right. So, any feedback yet from the community on some of the things that you want to do? And, so far on the center that's coming, like, what have people been saying about it?
Yeah, so we had to go through Board of Aldermen, zoning, we had to go through the mayor as well, because this industry comes with the stigma that you are like some backdoor trap dealer, or like you're the black market man. So exactly. We had to go through and jump through a couple of barriers, but they were very welcoming and very supportive through the process. But we are new. It's innovative ideas. So this is the very first of its kind out here in North County, St. Louis. And so we have to make sure that, again, that policy, that paperwork was in place. But oh my God, they're very supportive. We've been in the paper already. People are very excited. When you start talking about cannabis, people get very interested, when they see the coming soon sign, or when they see you coming in and out, and like, oh, what you putting there? And you're like, oh, cannabis resource. And they're like, oh, you're gonna be selling weed in there? You're gonna be selling weed?
Right, well, no. I mean,
that's the question. Like, everybody want to ask. Okay, when they're like, you selling weed? And it's like, no, we're not selling weed.
90% of the time, well, 99.9% of the time, that's the question you're going to get, because, and you talk about the stigma, of weed and, African Americans and weed. Like, we can do so much more than what's been portrayed out here of us. So I just want to commend you on your mission. Is there anything else you want to tell the people out here about the Canada Education Collective, or anything you got going on down there in Delaware?
Yeah, I'll tell them that, but I do want to hit on something that you just said. And I say this often when you said, when you said what you said, it makes me think of this thing about thinking beyond consumption, right? Thinking beyond smoking it and stuff. Like, we really, really, really have to look at this as big business. We have to look at this like the next prohibition is ending, when alcohol was once illegal and they legalized it, and think about all of the businesses and all of the money that came from that. This is the same, but bigger, right? Think about the gold rush, or when Uber was able to transform taxi cab company to be, something new. This is that, right? And so I really want to wake people up from you rolling your cigarillos up in your blunts and we having a good time and we passing it, and it's a party, to really wake up and get the ball rolling in front of it. This is that. That's what the Canada Education Collective is for, to get in front of the ball, get you prepared, get you legal. And this, a lot of this is tailored towards Missouri, but I've been to California doing work. I've done a lot of research in Oregon, a lot of research in Colorado, and all of the other places that are becoming legal, because it's usually a trend in how it goes.
Yes.
They usually test it out by a medical marijuana program, and then they go recreational shortly after, within a couple years. It's just a trend. And so if that is the case, we have to think 192 dispensary licenses were issued in Missouri. 24 of them in St. Louis. They haven't opened yet. So people don't feel it right now, right? Because you're riding down the street, you're gonna be able to see dispensaries like you're in Cali, but you can't go in if you don't have a medical marijuana card. So how do you get that?
Now, you know what? You just hit on something. Okay, man, look. Oh my God. I don't even know how much time I got, but let me just hit on this real quick. You just hit on something. So, very key to what you just said. If you don't have a medical marijuana card, you can't get in. And that's the difference between where I am, a California, and a Missouri or a Illinois or wherever, Vegas. It don't really matter. If that's what it is right now, and it's on the medicinal side, and this is how we're distributing it to everyone, then you have to abide by that rule. Other than that, you and I both know it's always going to be black market stuff. You can always go holler, at the person, go holler at. I mean, man, and no offense to y'all, man, because y'all do y'all business too. I know some of y'all all right with me, but I'm just saying, man, I just think that's something that's very key, and I really, really hope people in Delwood, and Ferguson, and St. Louis really catch on to what you're doing, because what you're doing is revolutionary, especially for the Midwest, and us being Midwest products, we know how things can be in the Midwest, especially when it comes to us trying to make, strides and change. So, Miss Melanie Randle, man, I've enjoyed talking to you, but this brings us to our very last question. I have to ask you this question. Miss Melanie Randle, what is the one word that best describes you and why?
The one word that best describes me would be resilient. I would say resilient.
Yes.
Because again, it just goes into all of the hurdles that we face in life. We all have a story. We all have something might have happened to you today, but how you overcome that, how you deal with it, how you manage that is what makes you who you are. And I think that over the years, I've been able to really be resilient, because I've been through a lot to get to where I'm at. So I think resilient would be it.
Okay. Hey, look here, man. Look here. I could think of groundbreaking, trailblazer, originator. Man, I could come up with 25 other words, but let me just say, I love what you're doing, because what you're doing is for the community, and it's to, man, I've heard this quote, and I use this quote a lot. In life, people will be one of two things: useful or useless. You are useful, okay? And what you're doing is very useful, and I hope, like I said before, I hope more and more people catch on to what it is that you're doing. So if anybody wanted to get in contact with you or the Canna Education Collective, how can people get in contact with you?
Thank you so much. So our phone number here is 314-226-1549. And I gave that because we're not fully open yet. But I really want to be able to make direct connections with folk. I like to talk to you. I like to feel your energy and, really be able to get you in. So that's one way. Also, cannaeducationco@gmail.com, as well as www.budtalkstl.com/cannaeducationco.
Okay. All right. Man, that's what's up, man. Look, the woman is on a mission. Please, for all my people out there in the Midwest, especially the STL, man, look here, in the dirty look. I know how y'all get down out there. Man, go support her. Go support the movement. Man, do what you need to do. Man, once again, this is Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Word with Ty Brownlow. You can also find me on Twitter at Ty Brownlow TV. Or if you just want to go to the website, that's tybrownlow.com. You can get this interview along with other great interviews. And man, I just want to thank my guest once again, Ms. Melanie Randles, and she's doing great things. And man, this is Word with Ty Brownlow. We out. Peace.